It's your boy Seven Sins,
Rodriguez.
and this is Actuality Speaks,
Podcast, baby.
the realest conversations,
The realest stories.
the realest topics,
The realest people. And of course,
the realest hosts. It's Actuality Speaks. If it ain't real talk,
just stay silent.
Pas de soleil, 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 pas de soleil.
It's Actuality Speaks podcast, and our special guest today is Veana.
I know shit's crazy, but I only wanna be with you. You think I'm shady cause I'm out here trying to make some moves, but it ain't like that. Just know that I'll be right back. I give you all my time just to let you know you're mine. It ain't nothing. Promise I'ma do it all to give you something. This love I got is...
Shout out 7 Cents. My boy Easy. He's out right now. Blessed, stay safe. Hope you get better, baby. We miss you. Holding it down for you. Rox Ruger in the building. Today, we're gonna get it in. Let's start it off.
Alright, let's do it.
Tell us everything about you right now.
I mean, I'm Veana Marie, or V Marie, whatever you're more comfortable with. I make R&B, hip hop, rap music. I have been dibbling and dabbling in other genres for some time, but I think now, while the iron is hot, I should strike at as many different things as possible.
Right.
So, I got hit up for country music last week. I've been writing for some young pop girls and, just trying to expand that catalog.
Country, that's different.
Yes.
Have you done country before?
Well, what's interesting is I was raised by my aunt in foster care, and she is very eclectic with her music. And so I grew up listening to everything from Elton John, Billy Joel, whatever was playing on the radio, and country music. So I know them old school Reba McEntire songs, and you know what I mean? His name just flew out of my head. The most popular white guy there in country music. Yeah, no, but I can't, you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Tim McGraw, Faith Hill.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
country music is rich in writers. You know what I mean? And the writing skills are they're just different. The way they tell stories is different.
Mm-hmm.
So if, I feel like if I'm able to do that, then I'll really be able to expand into way more demographics than just the limited demographic of the music that I like.
Yeah, 'cause country does have soul to it. as
Oh
well.
yes,
It
oh
does.
yes,
It
yeah.
does hit.
That's why K. Michelle is so adamant about
Right.
getting into country
Right.
music,
She
because she doesn't get any respect for her writing skills,
Mm-hmm.
because she feels like as a woman of color, that's all they're expecting of her.
Right.
When she grew up listening to country music and loving and singing along to country music artists.
All different
So
things.
why shouldn't she be able to also write country music and sing it, perform it, and be embraced by it? So shout out to K. Michelle trying
Right.
to really break the barriers, because it's not an easy genre for people of color to break into.
Right.
I think you can, count 3 to 5 Black artists
Mhm.
in country music that are actually doing some big things. So shout out to them.
And I think even as whether any type of music you like, I think, especially if you like music, period,
Mhm.
even as a rapper,
Yeah.
you have to love all different types of genres.
I mean, not even love it,
Not
but respect it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You
Respect
have to like
respect the kind of everybody's music comes from the same place inside of them. You know what I mean? So when you as a rapper or you as a vocalist, go to put your soul down. It's just a different translation. You know what I mean? And being able to tap into those different fields. You know, I hate to be, you know, I hate to bring up Kanye West because he's got such an ego on him. But it comes from someplace. You know what I mean? He understands that what he does comes from a higher level of understanding. Yeah, creative. Yeah. Being that creative, it comes from a different place. And not a lot of people can understand that and are able to tap into it. Yeah. Yeah. And I like being able to try new things. Mm-hmm. I might not be good at it, but at least I tried. Right. And that's really the goal, is to just try it and see if I'm going to be successful in it.
Step out of that box.
Yeah, yeah. The box is, I have claustrophobia. Right. I want to be out of a box. Right. You know what I mean? I'm out of that.
I want to be like you. Exactly.
Yeah, and growing up listening to like Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey and those being the big voices coming from choirs and things like that, I'm trying to stand out. It's easy to sing along to what's being played on the radio and to sound like other people. Right. But I always used to say that I have a choir voice because it blends well. I did a cappella choirs, I did show choirs, I did all different types of choirs. And when it came to finding my own voice, that's why it took me so long to really have a quality product that I was comfortable with, because I felt like I wasn't tapping into who I was. I was tapping into who all these other people were. So when I write music, like I might hear Tamar Braxton, or I might hear, you know, Mariah singing it, or I might hear somebody else. But I wanted to start writing music that I heard was coming from me. Right. I never wanted to be the brand. I never wanted to be in the forefront. I always wanted to just write. Yeah. But artists are divas, man. They're hard to work with. And it just got too hard. Having my own label and putting out, especially men, you know, you gotta love the men. But they can be worse than women when it comes to this music game. Really? And the divaism in them is so much worse than when I deal with females. The egos are out of control. You can't tell them nothing. And in order to grow as an artist, you've got to be able to take other people's opinions and listen to it. I don't say like, listen to everybody's constructive criticism. Right. But if it's making you question something that you've already questioned about yourself, you may want to take it into consideration. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's not going to kill you to try something different or to try what they're telling you to do. Right. If you hate it, toss it. Right. If you love it, look what you just did.
But at least you tried.
Right.
You took that effort.
Right. Right. So the music has always been the driving factor. Mm-hmm. All the other stuff is not as glamorous as people think.
Of course.
Not at all. Yeah. It's hard. It's hard. I was just watching Snoop Dogg talk about basics of when he went into No Limit, and how starstruck he was about how everybody on No Limit had a house, a car, a truck, 2 guns, and a bank account. Right. And I was like, it sounds so basic, but it's what a lot of us don't see that. A lot of us rent our whole lives. Right. A lot of us go through used vehicles. I drive a hoopty right now. Okay, there's nothing glamorous about my car.
That's what we know.
Right, and that's what we know. And the biggest thing for me is to make sure that there's food on the table. Right. Make sure my kids have new clothes. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, just knowing that you have those things, it gives you a sense of stability. When you can't calm down and think about a craft or an art, you can't put 100% into that product, and all these other things that like regular people would call, you know, the basics and necessity, they become distractions. You know, and then people wonder why artists have such substance abuse problems and they don't know how to really hone in on what's necessary, or some people just leave the business altogether. Right. Like, I took 15 years off. I've had many interviews in the last year and a half, and this always comes up. I took 15 years off to raise my kids. It wasn't because I didn't love music. It was because I come from a broken home, and I didn't want my kids to be in a broken home because I wanted to be an artist. It just, when I had the kids, it just didn't make any logical sense to me.
Right.
Music is always, it was always going to be there.
No, I feel you.
You know what I mean? So I would rather have stable children in 15 years than have, you know, kids that look at me and are like, well, where were you ever?
Right.
You were never here.
Right.
You were always out doing something, or you were on the road, or you were doing this, or you were doing that, and that wasn't going to be me. And you know, I'm happy with that decision, because I'm seeing a lot of things playing out right now in reality TV that I'm appalled at. Like, a lot of these celebrities' kids, you think that, oh, well, they should be happy, you know, they have all this money, they were raised in a mansion, they were this, but where were their parents?
Right.
Your kids do not care about how much money you have in the bank. They honestly care about the time that you spend with them. Mm-hmm. And that was just more important to me.
They don't have that love, they don't have that respect
There's
for the
no
parent.
connection.
Right. It's
and
lost.
I didn't want to not have that.
Right. No, it's understandable. Yeah, I completely understand, because I've been through that period where, you know, just like you know, I don't have kids or anything, but there's a time period where I didn't do music because I was going through shit, you know? You know, I was homeless at the time. I was, you know, trying to find a job, trying to do this, trying to, you know, swerve and, you know, do shit, get my mind on track. You know, I had to put the music down for a little bit so, you know, I could get focused. Right. And, you know, between that time, I lost like 2-3 years trying to get, you know, my mind back.
Correct.
And it's like, damn.
You blink. And next thing you know, it's 5 years later.
Right. So I'm like, damn, I love music to death. But at the end of the day, it's like, I gotta do what's right for me. Right. So yeah, I'm gonna get back to this music. But it's like, by the time I get back to this music, everybody's on this watered down fuck shit. And it's like, so do I want to keep doing this shit? Because it's like, damn, like, I'm trying to find a balance and everything. And it's like, but this is my passion. Right. And I would never give this up to this day.
Right. Right.
You know?
I mean, I feel like that's why I'm still here. That's why I'm still doing what I love to be doing, because at the end of the day, you know, what's inside of you, that fire that is inside of you, you might be able to put it out for a little bit so that you can handle business, but it never goes away.
It doesn't.
You know, I stopped listening to the radio for like 6-7 years. It wasn't, and I tell people it wasn't because the music was trash, but the reality of it is it wasn't what it was. And I don't want to be influenced by a wave of what's going on and what's popular right now. Because what's popular right now might not be popular in 5 years, but you know what? People are still listening to rap that was put out in the 80s and 90s like it was just put out. So, you know what I mean? Like, there is timeless music, and then there's music that comes and goes. It's a fad.
It is.
You know, and not to discredit anybody or to put anybody down, because if you can make any money in this music industry, then make it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Do what you got to do. But, you know, I want what I do to be considered an art. I write everything.
Right.
I write everything. So I don't want to go into a situation where people are like, oh, well, you're cute, let me write something for you, and then go in the booth and you know, do something with that.
Right.
And it's like, but what am I bringing to the table? You know what I mean? Like, so you're basically telling me the only thing I'm bringing to the table is looks, and I can't live with that. I don't want to be living with that.
Sex? Like, none of that.
Yeah, like, they'll tell you they'll trade you the world if you give them some sex.
Right.
But there's a lot of females that do that and then don't get anywhere.
I've heard all that.
It is a very difficult industry for women, and you know, there's just not enough chivalry in the music business. There's some, but there's not enough.
I agree.
You know, and we could all make money. Right. We could all make money, but see, a lot of people get into the business for the wrong reasons. Right. And if you are lucky enough to find other people that are in the business to really make music, you'll couple up with a lot of good folks. I've made a lot of great connections and met a lot of good people on the road. Right. Done a lot of great collaborations. I've been in a lot of great situations, but equally have been in a lot of fuck shit, you know, and not because I was trying to sell my soul, but because
There's a lot of
you don't realize before you're already there what is expected of you.
Right,
So you have two options, either do it or leave.
right,
And what has put me behind is that I leave.
right.
I've never stayed for anything like that. That is just not my scene.
Right.
I knew, because I had girls, I had daughters first, that no matter what I do, it's gonna come back and they're gonna look at that. And I really want my kids to respect me
Exactly.
at the end of the day. I could care less what anybody else thinks. I
Right.
really want my kids to look at their mom and say, she had a dream, she put it on pause, and then she came back with a vengeance.
Facts.
And that's the story, and I'm sticking to it.
And most women can't say that because they're too busy trying to sell that to get this.
And you can't judge them for that, because you know what?
Right.
Sometimes it does get you ahead. Sometimes it does move you in a position. Look, if it works for you, it works for you. It just doesn't work for me. And I'll never judge another woman for the decisions they feel like they have to make under that kind of pressure. One of my favorite artists is Jessie Reyes. And I really like the message that she put out there, because it was so relatable. Because when I first started getting a buzz, people would say, well, we don't want to hear about the sexual harassment that goes on in the business. That, everybody knows that that's what it is. You're a good looking woman. You're gonna deal with that. And I was so taken aback by that, because in the real world, sexual harassment is a crime.
Right.
You can go to jail for that. You know what I mean? And in the music business, it's just accepted. And I just said, no, hell's no.
It's ignorance.
That's not going to be a thing for me.
Right.
But I'll never judge another woman for the decision she feels like she has to make when she's in a studio session with, 5 or 6 dudes, and, she's drinking or smoking, and then, everybody's under the influence, and then, you got to make a snap decision. You just don't know unless you're in that position.
That's a choice, though.
True,
it's a choice.
true, it is a choice, but you really don't know.
But don't get mad afterwards.
That's true
You can't
too.
get mad afterwards.
That's true too. That's true
You
too.
can't get mad.
I mean, I can just honestly say for myself, I know that that's never been a road I had to travel,
Right.
because I chose not to travel it.
Exactly.
I don't owe anybody anything. If you don't like my music, we don't have to collaborate.
Right.
That's cool.
Exactly.
I'm good with that.
Keep it just like that.
Right? I'm good with. I like what I make.
Exactly.
I think a lot of people are so insecure about the product that they make that they're willing to compromise their morals in order to make, to make those moves that they'd like to be making. But again,
That's exactly what it is.
everybody gets in the business for the same reasons.
See? And that's exactly what it is. See? So, speaking of business, let's talk about this business right here. Probe, you are on magazine. This is not your first magazine, but this is your second, correct?
It's my second cover, yeah.
The second
Yeah.
cover. Let's talk about it.
Well, I think everybody in Massachusetts knows that Probe is a very well-known urban magazine.
Right.
It's been in existence for at least since I was a teenager. I've heard of Probe magazine, right up there with Double XL. And as far as me knowing business, didn't really know much about this part of the business, like the advertising, the marketing, the promotion, until I started dealing with management. I talk about the fact that I've gone through quite a few managers. A lot of those situations were managers that were doing other things like podcast shows or, had just too much going on. And for me, I needed more focus, because it is very difficult to manage yourself when you go out to shows. You can't be up on stage and then coming down and trying to take information. And it was just a lot. So I only had one bad experience with a manager, and it was so fast. You know what I mean? Like, he was my manager 1 month. I came out up here to do a show.
Right.
Something happened, and then he was no longer my manager. It was that quick. I mean, that's how I am in business.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not about your business, I just don't have the time.
Right. Keep it moving.
Yeah, I don't.
Right.
Nobody has the time
No.
to waste. Everything costs money. So if you're costing me money, I can't do it.
Nice.
But Probe, was kind of like a dream come true. It wasn't my first, like I said, it wasn't my first magazine cover. Shout out to Vero G for being the first magazine to put me on their cover and have me featured in one of their magazines in August for my birthday. I was featured in the magazine. Cuban Link was on the cover. That was a dream come true. And then she had me featured on the cover of her magazine for December. And then I was like, let's see what we can do from there. Got in contact with the right people. And this is how that happened.
So altogether you was on how many?
I've been in 2 magazines. So far.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice. That's dope. That's dope. That's dope.
So shout out to Cedric for that, making that happen.
Cedric. So you have any upcoming projects?
I do. I have a project that's going to be released later on this year.
Right.
I'm hoping to release it in August. I've been working on music for 2 years. I'm not one of those artists that put out, I've been researching a lot of local talent from different regions of the country. And the one thing I notice is a lot of rappers put out multiple bodies of work in a year's time. And I can respect that. I am such a perfectionist. So writing a song, it takes me a little bit longer. And I'm not a natural at it. I don't pretend to be a natural at it. I've gotten much better at it, but I'm not a natural. So I want to make sure that I respect the people that have come before me and I write a good track.
Right.
It needs to make sense. It needs to have, popping cadences. It needs to, resonate on a higher frequency. I just don't want to put out what I feel to be garbage.
Right.
So it does take me a little bit. We've been sitting on this V project for the last few years because it's gotten some pretty good traction, and you don't really want to mess with something that's working. So the Paper Chase currently, that's one of my biggest singles. That has over 150,000 streams on Spotify. I ran a campaign for that over the summer, and it got up there. The Bigger Picture is my other major single.
I like that one.
Yeah, it's a love track. And a lot of people I like to make sure that I have love songs out there because I feel like everybody can relate to love. Not everybody can relate to, throwing hands or, the lifestyle that a lot of us have been forced to live because we're poor. Like a lot of that lifestyle comes from being poor.
Right.
Another thing I learned in watching Snoop's documentary was, a lot of these guys didn't understand how to make money doing what they were doing outside of just rapping.
Right.
And
go back to the streets.
Right. So you go right back to it, and then you wonder why these people are catching cases or that. You know what I mean? Like it's little things that people really don't understand. It's not about being flashy for me. Right. I can appreciate somebody who's making it and wants to go and buy themselves a nice chain or even get themselves a nice car.
Right.
But what have you invested into your career so that you can do that in 3 years?
Right.
You know what I mean? Where do you plan on being in 5, 6, 7 years? You know what I mean? So it always goes to prove that if you're good with your business, you'll have a longer career in doing what you want to do.
Right.
So that's my goal. I want to, in 5 years, I want to just be making other people famous.
Right.
I produce. I engineer. I mix. I have all of this training that I ended up taking away from the artists that I was working with because they were wasting my time and just applying it to myself. And from there, that's where I got this drive to just put it out there and let's do this.
You have to.
I really like it. You know what I mean? I really like making music.
You become the super artist yourself. And you don't really need to pay all these people because you're doing that yourself.
Right.
And if you want to, if you need to, then you can pass it to this person.
Yeah. And I learned to listen to people. Some people, when they just are so into being artists, they're like, oh, well, I'm great. This sounds good. I don't need to. No, tell me. I can't grow unless unless I'm learning from the people that are around me
Right.
that are better than me,
Right.
I'm not gonna learn anything.
No, I'm saying it too.
You know, so I want to grow.
I like that. Take it in.
Tell me. I'm not okay. I'm
Right.
okay with constructive criticism. I'm okay with.
Tell me if
with
I said you don't like it.
Yeah, you don't like it.
If
Why?
sucks or yeah.
What is it? What's the reason
Right.
you don't
Yeah.
like it?
Yeah.
You know
Tell
what I
me.
mean? Like, what do you think? And I'm always looking for
Right.
people to, will you listen to this and let me know what you think about it? Can I do something different? Can I do something better? I think that it's easy to get a perception of bitchiness or divaness when you are, because when it comes to business, you
Right.
really have to be assertive. People like to, bulldoze you.
Right.
And they like to think that you don't know what it is that you're doing. Everybody can do the same research. Everybody got Google and YouTube, and everybody has access to the same information.
Right.
So you're assuming that I am lazy and unintelligent because either I didn't read up on something and research it,
Right.
or
Incompetent.
I'm stupid and I don't understand what I'm reading. I love what I'm told that I don't understand.
Right.
Okay, I got you.
Right.
Because at that point the conversation is over.
Right.
It's just not even worth going into anymore.
Exactly.
You're right. You got that.
Right.
I got that.
Exactly.
So yeah, projects are coming. I've got a lot of features in the works. I'm always looking to collaborate with people. I want to expand upon my sound. I don't like to have the same kind of track, on a project. I want every song to be different. So an experience, when you listen to a project of mine, I want you to experience something different with every track.
Yeah.
You're not going to get, I might open with a rap, intro,
Right.
and then you might get a complete, vocal song next. You know what I mean? There's just not going to be the same thing. And I find that that's what a lot of artists right now,
Right.
especially famous artists, they'll get a wave and they'll ride that till it's dead.
Right.
And I get sick of hearing the same types of music
Right.
over and over
Right.
and over. I love Megan Thee Stallion, but I find that tends to be
That's
what
what it
happens.
is.
It's the same content. It's the same, and she's so intelligent. She's so
Yes,
good
yes.
with her pen
Right.
that, you know what I mean? And I get it. Like when you're working under a label
Right.
and they're telling you this is what we need to
Right,
put out,
right,
this is
right.
what we need to do, you
Switch it
keep
up.
doing it. Yeah, you switch it up a little
Right.
bit, but it's pretty much the same thing. Poor Cardi, she got all of her fans bugging her for more music.
Right.
But, how many songs like, Money or Bodak Yellow are we going to hear? They all sound the same. Let them marinate. Let them express themselves in different ways. If it's about making money, then you're going to find things are very much oftentimes the same. But if it's about art, that's where you find differences. That's where you find things that are
But
different.
once again, it goes back to the artist because, to me personally, because it goes back to it wasn't her pen. And it goes back to
Well, I mean, she goes on record to say that she writes her own music. Now, you might not believe it. You may believe it. You may not believe it. But some people think that Nicki doesn't write her own music. There's all these reasons why people think she doesn't write her own music. And to me personally, it's insulting to think that a woman couldn't possibly understand sports and that's why she doesn't write her own music. But, it is what it is. She goes on record to also saying she writes her own music. You gotta just, if you're a fan, you're gonna trust what the artist says. If you're a critic, you're gonna do everything that you can to try to disprove the fact that they are doing what they're doing. Look, if you bought the track, if you own the rights, if the publishing is on yours, it's your song. You know what I mean? It's yours. I'm not mad at Cardi.
I ain't mad
She found the wave, she wrote it, and she wrote it all the way to Rolling Stone, the cover of Rolling Stone magazine. So, you know what I mean? I'm not mad at her.
I just respect people who write.
I just
respect people who write.
Same. But see, a lot of the times we get so wrapped up in that we forget that this is a business and that they've taken it over. They've taken it over. When you have writers, ghost writers, write for artists all the time.
Yeah.
I believe Drake used to write his own stuff and then he went on record to saying that he is working with ghostwriters because when you're famous, you your schedule is crazy. It's from sun up to sun. I'm not even famous. And my schedule in the last 3 months, just from the few things that have helped me get buzzing, have got me going almost 4 or 5 times a week, where I was averaging 1 appearance a week.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like even little things will get you going.
Right. Like you,
that's true. That's true. But I also respect myself enough to you know, if I'm gonna collaborate, we're gonna collaborate. Yeah. But I never probably let anybody write my. Yeah. No.
Exactly. That's the difference.
Only as a vocalist though, because as a singer, it's not always your job to be a writer. Your talent is the singing. You know what I mean? The old school artists, not even old school artists. Whitney Houston wasn't in the booth writing. She had writers. Diane Warren is one of the most famous writers for R&B music, and people don't even know her.
See, and I was disappointed even with Whitney on different stuff. See,
but that's because people. I think even like my kids will be surprised when they find out certain people don't write their own music, and it's like, but that's not. Yeah. When it comes to music business, see, that's the difference between rap and hip hop and the music business. Yeah. Christina Aguilera is not expected to go in and write her own songs. Like Kelly Clarkson is not expected to go in and write her own songs. What's her name?
See, I'm disappointed. See,
I mean, but their talent is not their writing. Their talent is their ability to sing.
Yeah, I know. I'm still disappointed. I'm still like, come on, like, that's not right to me. Still. But
and you know what it was? Shout out to Angel Robinson. He was like literally the first person to put me out when I was a teenager and put me on stage. He's the one that told me that. See? He said, it's not your job to be a writer, Veana. It's your job to sing. It's your job to sing these songs. So whoever writes the songs, whether it's you or this person or that person, it's your job to bring that song to life.
Like I get it. I comprehend that.
Right. But as a creative, it's difficult. It's a difficult pill for you to swallow. I get it. Yeah. I get it. Because it does disappoint me sometimes when I hear, oh, she's not writing that. Right. Rihanna didn't write that song. You mean somebody else wrote that song? Right. But I love me some Rihanna. Right. Nah. You know, it is what it is.
Like that come from your heart. That came from that person's heart. Like
it's a way for a person to translate a body of work into something to make it relatable. Not everybody's talent is to sing. Some people only have the talent to write. Right. You know, I know plenty of people that like to rap and write really well, but their delivery is complete trash. Right. Give it to somebody who can write, who can rap. Give it to somebody who can express that for you. You know what I mean? When you can when you have a partnership with somebody like that, and they really can translate what it is that you're putting out there, it makes you feel good. The last interview I did, I talked about Mallory Barrett because she's an amazing vocalist that I had sing some of my stuff when I first started just writing, and I love listening to other people sing my music. It really, as a writer, it makes me feel a great sense of accomplishment. The technical aspect of what we do and everything that goes into it gets completely lost on the newer generation.
I think I got it when I first, you probably know the movie, when I first seen Coyote Ugly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I got it then. So when I first seen that movie, it was like, all right. And I love that movie. So it's like when she sung her song, it was like, okay, I get it. Yeah. Because when she, translated, it was like, all right, all right, I get it. But still. Yeah. But I do get it. And it is a powerful thing either way because, like you said, you love hearing someone sing your song. Vice versa, they probably love singing your song. And they brought the passion, they brought, all the art and everything out of them. So, yeah.
Well, then you got your Mariah Carey's that'll be there and be like, well, she's singing my song, who was that? You know what I mean? Right. She's always throwing shade at Jennifer Lopez, that one. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. You just have to understand the difference between the art and the business. Right. And when I learned that, that's what made me lose 180 pounds and get into the business the way that I knew I could have more control. I was told from the time I was 18, when I first started doing music in Boston, that I would never be in the front. That I would only ever, at the most, be a background singer and a writer and a talent scout, because I had a really good ear and I could see things and hear things that other people weren't paying attention to. You know, oh no, they're not as good as you think. Trust me, put them in the booth.
Right.
And they'd get in the booth and they'd be like, whoa, you were right. I'm like, yeah, I'm right. I know music. I've been listening and been in choir since I was 6, listening to other people. You know, when you're in an a cappella choir, it's your job to listen to everybody, because you have to learn how to blend. So again, that's why it was so hard, I think, for me to find a voice that was my own voice, because I'm on my own. They say I do a lot of harmonies and stuff like that in my music, because I'm afraid of what my voice sounds like on its own. They're not lying. That's exactly what it was. And it took a long time for me to get out of my own way in order for me to really understand that I didn't need all that. Some of that stuff was just extra.
Find your own voice.
Yeah, I feel like I'm there.
Yeah.
Now, I'm there now. I've put out five major projects, and I feel like what's gonna put me on the map is this next one.
Yeah.
I've never liked my music as much as I like what I'm about to release. So thank you for all those, you know, all that inspiration.
Yeah.
I put up a post earlier about, you know, people being my muse, and they don't even know it. You know what I mean? People don't know, you know, when songs are written about them, and they don't understand, you know, what it takes to be inspired. It's not always situational. It's not even always what's going on personally in my life. It might be something that I've witnessed or something that I've seen or somebody's said to me. I wrote a song called Part-Time Love, and it was about a friend of mine who was dealing with some crazy dude, and she was telling me all about everything going on. I said, girl, I'm gonna write you a song. And she liked my music, so she was like, all right, I want to hear it. So I wrote Part-Time Love. It's on that Piff. It's on
Is it out?
yeah, it's out. It's on that Piff, and it was actually a test piece that I did for a label down south. And you know, they liked it. They liked the writing. But again, you know what I mean, you can get stuck in that writing box where you're always writing for other artists. I haven't met anybody outside of Mallory yet that wants to sing R&B music written by somebody else. Everybody's trying to write their own stuff. Hey, if you want to try to write your own stuff, go ahead. I say, if you have talent, let somebody write for you. If you're a singer and you're not really a great writer, find you a great writer. Because your talent is being undershined because of your lack of writing skills. You know what I mean? That's why we need writers and we need vocalists.
Separate.
Yeah.
And then combine.
Yeah. Not everybody's gonna do both. Not everybody can be Kanye West. Not everybody can produce their own beats and do all the rapping and do all the mixing and come out with the sneaker line and the clothing line and not everybody can do that. It's not your job to do everything. Find out what you're good at. Try new things. If you're good at them, keep doing them. But if you want to make money and keep it authentic, do what works for you. And don't be afraid to ask for help.
Exactly. No.
Most people will help if you ask them. You just gotta ask them.
That's completely fair and understandable. I'm with it. Yeah, that. So besides all that, you say you got the projects coming up. You have any videos?
I'm working on videos this year. I'm super duper camera shy.
Are you?
I am. I do not like, I'm a photographer, but I did that by trade. When I first moved down south, see, I grew up here.
Okay.
I went to school here. And then when I moved down south to Mobile, Alabama, that's when I...
You went to school in Brooklyn?
No, I went to school in Boston. I went to school at Berkeley.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I left Berkeley School of Music because it was so much of the same of what I had already been doing. I had already done music theory classes. I had tested into like second and third year music training classes, and I was just bored. And it was really difficult for me to focus on school when I really wanted to be working with artists and be in the studio. And like my ensemble group was my favorite class because in your ensemble group you get a drummer, a guitarist, a bassist, you get a piano player, you get a director, and they're basically there to help everything go on, and you get 3 vocalists.
Right.
So everybody gets to put out and work on what they want, every single student. But with only an hour and a half, like twice a week, you don't get a lot of time to do that because everything is so basically uniform. You got your harmony class, your ear training class. We used to call it ear straining because it was such a hard class. They'd make you listen to music and you'd have to transpose it on the spot. So when you go to test for that, right? You imagine a 17-year-old. I'm 17 years old, and I'm going to test to get into my classes. They hand me my paperwork when I start school, and I'm in ear training 2. And I'm like, how did I test into ear training 2? This is what happens when you practice music theory and you learn music theory from the time you're 6 years old till the time you get to college. So it was overwhelming. It was a lot more schooling than I was prepared for when I thought I was going to be going into more of like a music business type setting. And I felt like I was ready for the music business part. And that's why I left. I started working for a record company. I started scouting talent, looking for talent.
But you were advanced.
I mean, I wouldn't say I was advanced. I just was really good at that focus. I'm a dyslexic. I have dyslexia. And I started reading music to help correct that.
Right.
I like to memorize things because I mess up my words all the time. It's hard for somebody to just hand me something to read and say, hey, read this on the spot. Oh, anxiety immediately. And then, everything goes to turning around. So the music really helped. Learning how to read music really helped with that. Yeah. And it's just, you get to a point where you just don't want to do that anymore. The theory, it never leaves you. I can still read music. I can still play instruments. I can still do all those things. That didn't leave me. I'm just at a point now where the business includes so much more than just the music.
Right.
You have to have branding. You have to know how to market. You have to know. And if you don't understand it, like I feel bad for the young kids that get into this and don't understand all the other things that go into it, because then they get bamboozled by people that take advantage of them. Yeah. My goal is to have it set up where I can have people come in and we can work together. And I know I'm very maternal, so I'm never going to treat somebody's child wrong. I'm never going to lie to them about what their potential could be and where they could make money. And, you always should be reading your contracts and protecting yourself and understand that not everybody has good intentions in this business. And they will exploit your talent if you have it, and they'll try to take credit for your work if you let them. I don't know how many times that's happened. I'm sure it's happened to you. You know what I mean? People are always looking for a way to come up off of somebody else's hard work. And it's the worst feeling in the world to be blindsided by people that you thought were supposed to be there for you and have your back. So, just watch out and read everything. Read everything. For real. And I don't like the idea of riding anybody's coattails. I would never want anybody to say to me, well, you only made it because of this person. Oh, okay. We're not doing that. I would rather bleed, sweat, cry, do all of that before I ever use somebody else to get ahead. You know what I mean? Nobody deserves that. That's extremely disrespectful. Right. So we lack a lot of things in this business. And I think that people forget that rap and hip hop was a form of basically hiding you know, our criminal activity and the shit that we were doing in the streets. You know, we needed a place to put our dirty money, and this is the best and easiest, fastest way to do it. Exploit people who are looking for a come up because they're poor, they ain't never seen money. So, you know what I mean? Have them sign shitty contracts, and
these white people hopped
right on, and they just kept, you know, pushing. There's people that just, you know, Lil Wayne, how long did Lil Wayne fight for his rights on his music? And then when he got his rights, didn't he sell them? I'm pretty sure he sold them all. So, you know what I mean? Like, and he's worth on his own millions and millions of dollars. So, you know, it's possible. Just paperwork. Read your paperwork. And everything is you're able to do everything now from the comfort of your own home. Distribution to your marketing to all of your digital art to everything. Everything is accessible online. If you can't trust anybody, do it your damn self. That's what I tell people.
So, do you have your own label, or you just...
I do have a label, but I'm not actively utilizing it. I just stopped taking on clients, and that's basically what I did there. What I did was, when I stopped taking clients, I reached out. I was in Mobile, Alabama. I reached out to a management crew down there, and you know, things just didn't work out. You know, sometimes things just do not work out. You know, people's focus tends to get split, especially when you're in an entertainment group that is focusing on more than just you as an artist. And I feel like with me, I'm on borrowed limited time because this is definitely a young person's game. So at the end of the day, I want to keep making music, and I need people that are going to work with me that understand what my needs are. And so sometimes it takes a while to find the right kind of, you know, the right kind of fit. They're all doing well. All those people that I am no longer working with, and they were riding for me for that limited short time that they were, they're all doing pretty well right now. So I'm happy for them. You know what I mean? We're still in contact. I use a couple of the producers that I was dealing with down there. I still am using their tracks. They're still supporting. I like to make it a point to tell people I'm multi-regional. I have pull in more than one area of the country. I'm not just doing music here in Massachusetts. You have to. Right. You have to. You have to be able to expand your brand, and you need to be able to reach in multiple areas. There's, you know, we're down the Eastern Seaboard. We're in the South. The next spot will be in California and on the West Coast. That's the next, you know.
Consider reopening
the label? In a few years. Once I'm not the face of everything, you know what I mean? Like, once I'm not the person in the forefront having to make all these appearances and stuff, when I can kick it back and just be engineering and doing all that's when I would want to, you know, bring the label back and really give it the attention that it needs. Because I still like taking pictures and doing videos, all that, the editing, but all of it takes time. You know how long it takes to edit something, and you know what I mean? I'm up all night. On my very first mixtape, the last song is a rap that's basically for the haters, and the last thing that I say, and you know, I said, this is why I do this. This is why I make this music all damn night. I'm half asleep. Like, literally, you can hear it in my voice. I'm half asleep. This is why I make this music all damn night. You know what I mean? Because that's there's no better feeling than getting a project completed. I really like working with other people because that satisfaction when you can help somebody else bring their own dreams and what it is that they saw for their product to life and have something to do with that, it makes you feel good. If not, then you're not in the right business. You got to feel good about what you do.
I'll get off 6:30. I'll be up to like 3 o'clock in the morning, working on my stuff. Like, if I gotta, no one's gonna do it. Right. So absolutely. Then I gotta get up and be out working 9 o'clock in the morning. So,
and if you know anything about editing, you're looping. I'm over and over and over and over. My kids used to know people's music just for them hearing me edit something and it looping over and over.
They're driving you crazy because I'm like, oh my god.
They're like, where's that? So my girls, they just turned 18, and this past year, they're twins. So this past year, I caught them and I've been talking about it online, but I caught them writing music, putting on beats on YouTube and writing diss tracks. They wrote a diss track about me.
What?
They wrote a diss track about me. It was so hilarious. Man. I was like, wow. They're not online. They're actually.
Is that diss track still online?
Oh no! They didn't put it out. They wrote it. They wrote it, but they won't put anything out right now. They're real self-conscious about this stuff, but they want you to. Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying to get them in the studio. I'd love to get them to record some stuff because they really help with, they help me with cancel. You gotta love it though.
I know.
You gotta love it. You know what I mean?
No,
it's funny, it's accurate, it's funny, and it's them. It's how they feel.
You took their joints? What you do? What you do?
Alright, I'll tell you one thing. I'll give you a little bit. We got some chickens, right? And in one of the lines, see, at first we didn't know if we had roosters or hens. So one of the lines in the song is, you bought a bunch of chickens. You bought a bunch of roosters. You didn't get no hens. And I was like, wow, wounded, right? Wounded. So like little things like that they're paying attention to, because they write about what's going on in their lives.
Right.
So they can't write about the stuff that I write about because they don't know anything about that life. So that's what makes it so funny and so accurate to what draws them. You know what I mean? They're not going around talking about gang banging and doing drugs and having sex, because these aren't things that they're experiencing in life.
Right.
That's what I took from taking that time off to be a parent to my kids. You know what I mean? And that I much rather have them writing about the fact that we thought we had got a whole bunch of roosters and no hens than out there talking about being on the next dude. You know what I mean? Because that's where to me, that being a good parent means more than that.
Right.
So, shout out to my girls for that diss track. They wrote another diss track about an ex-friend of mine, and it was extremely accurate and hilarious too. They're just really, really good at writing. To the point where they were doing it earlier than I was, and they're just better at it. And I love that.
See where they at.
Oh, I love that. So they don't have to work at it though. And they write everything. They were writing rock music. They were writing, R&B music. They struggle with the R&B music because I feel like if you haven't been in love, it's hard for you to write about love. But I told them, I said, you just have to write about what your perception of love is right now. When you fall in love, you'll be able to write love songs because you already write.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're already there. Write about what you know about. And so they do. It's good. It's really, it's a proud, a pride thing when you're sitting in the next room and you're listening to them go through the beats and they're out there writing. I love it. I love it.
You walking by like,
there's my kids.
So is there anything else you want the world to know about you?
I'm just a hard-working artist.
I can see that.
The drama and the craziness that comes with the business miss me with that because I have just zero time for it. I think maybe if I was a 20-year-old artist, I'd be with the shits, but I'm not. I like the aspect of being able to create in an environment that I don't feel like I have all this extra, to worry about. You know what it's like. Because I've actually been homeless twice with my kids. So I understand what it's like to have to keep going. And I was sitting in the shelter resharing my ads and my photos and my songs, sharing a room with my kids. And when you get to that point where you have to start all over again and you have to reevaluate your life choices, it's a very humbling experience. And you really have to believe and know that what it is that you're doing is a calling and not just a hobby. is one of the things I hate the most is when people are like, oh, you just want to get paid to do your hobby. This has never been a hobby. This isn't something I picked up a couple years ago. This is something that I've been doing since I was 6. So trust and believe, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with the time off, and I'm okay with being older, and I'm okay with all that goes along with what's happened to me, because it's made me a better artist, and it's made me appreciate the things that I think a lot of people tend to forget when they get into this business.
And even with the time off, I'm still writing. I'm still rapping. Yeah. I'm in the shower freestyling. I'm driving freestyling. Tying my shoe freestyling. I'm smoking freestyling. It don't matter. Absolutely. Even to this day, I'm talking to you. I'm still conversating freestyling.
Right, in the back of your head. You still, working on something new.
It keeps going. It's unstoppable. Even the times when you want to stop, when you feel like you want to stop, you're not, because I'm still freestyling. It doesn't matter. When I have to sleep, I'm still freestyling. So, I know, it's just me.
Yeah.
It's just
I'm going to leave here, I'm going to go home, and I'm going to rehearse. Right. Because I can do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I was in the shelter, I wouldn't be able to do that. I'd have to put my phone up, and I'd have to be in bed at a certain time, and you know what I mean? It's the little things that you appreciate that comes with stability. I can't tell you how grateful I am for the things that have gone down in the last 3 years that have changed my life drastically, made me not just a better artist, but a better parent. And because I think all artists go through that period where they're like, well, fuck this, I'm good. I'm good. I don't want to do this anymore. It's not even worth it. Because for what? It's just nothing but, people out here trying to use you or trying to do this. There's a laundry list of reasons why not to do it. Right. But why did you get into it to begin with? Because for me. Right. So you can never lose you.
Yeah, to make me happy. Because I love doing this. Not for anybody else.
Right. So that's why we're here. That's why we're doing it. That's why it's still going, and that's why the fan base has grown organically. I'm not one of these people that has to force the fans, and I'm because if you like it, please rock with it. If you don't like it, there's a gazillion other people on the internet making music. Try their music. You might like it. I know I do. Right. I move on to the next artist all the time. I don't have to bash anybody in order to make myself feel good about the product that I make. Exactly.
I'm okay with 3 people liking my stuff. I don't care.
For real. If you like it, that's great. I put it out there. It's on there because I liked it. Right. I'm proud of the work that I do. I'm proud of my work ethic. Right. I'm proud of everything that has my name on it. If it has my name on it, I vouch for it. Right. I put up artist support all the time because I support artists. I might not be a fan of your music, but I'm going to support you as an artist because everybody has the right to make music. Whether you like it or not, or whether I like it or not, that doesn't make a difference. You like it. You liked it enough to put it out there for the world. Who am I to tell you that it's trash? You're right. You know what I mean? As long as you're not out here actively trashing anybody else, I'm going to help you. And I'm going to push you as an artist because you deserve that respect. That's what people get it messed up. You think that just because that you're good at something that you have the right to tell other people that their music is trash or not. Well, it's not trash to them because they put it out. And they're proud of it. Right.
She has women too.
Yeah. Women are under the microscope right now because, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Right. If you don't talk about sex, then... You know what I mean? You're a prude. If you do talk about sex, then you're doing too much. We can't win. Right. These men can't make up their mind. So I say, just do whatever makes you happy. That too. I'm not lying, though, right?
I agree with you. I agree with you.
WAP comes out. You got half of the men that love it. Got half of the men that can't stand it. And it's make up your mind. Because don't tell me y'all don't like WAP when... More money is made in the sex industry than in any industry on the planet. Okay? Any strip club is making money. And they're playing WAP. And guess what? Them men are in there dropping that money.
But I don't want to hear because then you got these dudes that can talk all this pussy, all this ass, all this through their raps.
Yeah.
All day, all night. But then as soon as a female drop this, drop that about, it's, oh, she's a hoe, she's a this, she's a that, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I X all that out because y'all saying all this through y'all raps.
I'm a mother with a trash mouth. I swear every other word. Usually I rap, I sing, I talk about my life experiences, I talk about experiences in life in general. And if you don't like it, you can turn it off.
Exactly.
I'm okay with that. I'm alright with that. I'm not about forcing my product down anybody's throat. Right.
Because don't talk about she got a fat this, fat ass, blah, 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 come over here, suck my... But then as soon as she talk about, let's use this dude, let's do this dope.
Right.
Oh, she wrong, she a hoe, she's using this, she... Like, come on, you just talked about doing the same thing to this shit.
Mm-hmm. Well, women have been exploited for years. That's how they've sold many products. You know, in advertising, and you know, we got professional sports that use women in bikinis to carry cards across the damn ring, and they're wearing nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, come on, this is not. This is an old game.
It is,
and they're just mad that women are tapping into it and utilizing their own power in order to make the same types of moves.
Flipping it. Right.
It is what it is.
You're right.
Nobody's running the world. We can all run the world together. Why can't we all make some money together? Enjoy each other's company. I love men. I love men. I love women. We should all just get along.
I hear that. I love women and money. But, you know.
Right. Let's make this money first. Then we'll talk about all that other stuff.
And music. So, you understand. So, V. Marie, I want to thank you.
Thank you so much.
Coming on our show. And again, 7 Cents, I wish you was here. Because we had a great, fantastic time. Actuality Speaks podcast. Again, we love you. And we want to hand you your flowers right here now. And again, check out Pro magazine. Cop yours.
I will be performing at the end of this month.
Where?
In Fall River at the VFW with Boom Squad Radio. They do a radio show every Saturday night. I try to tune in at least every other week and give them my full attention. I feel like if you're going to watch somebody's show, give them the attention. You can give them an hour of your time. There's 24 hours in a day. I mean, I don't know how that translates in a week, but you can give an hour and a half to people to support them. Get in their comments, listen to the artists, because I have come across a lot of talent in those review shows. It's not about the ratings for me. It's about, listening to, it's not easy. I don't even put my music into a lot of review shows because I'm an artist that's sensitive. Like, I don't want to hear people give me a crappy review show. Yeah, they do a review show. And I love it because they're so funny and they keep it going. And it's just a good group of people. And, I mess with them heavy. So it's the end of the month.
You said Fall River?
Fall River. Let me just, I got to pull up the calendar, see the date. I think it's the 27th. If I'm not mistaken, it's the 26th or the 27th, either that Friday or that Saturday. There's no flyers out yet, but it's that last weekend in March. I wanted to push it. I know everything's opening up and everybody's excited to get back out there, but I want to wait to see how these numbers look in a couple of weeks before I get back on stage. So yeah, end of the month, that's where I'll be. Fall River, Mass.
Fall River, Mass, the 27th of March. Check her out. Review show. And again, Pro, make sure you get your copy. V. Marie. And again, thank you for coming on our show.
Thank you so much for having me here.
It's your boy 7 Cents.
Rodriguez.
And this is Actuality Speaks.
Podcast, baby.
The realest conversations.
The realest stories.
The realest topics.
The realest people. And of course,
the realest hosts. It's Actuality Speaks. If it ain't real talk,
just stay silent.